Hi everyone, welcome to Wake Up Well on this Thursday morning. I've been asked to revisit one of our themes for Vision Sunday this year, the idea that we are to bloom where we are planted. And we are going back to Jeremiah 29, that was a key scripture for us. The children of God, the people of God are in exile. It is not what they hoped and dreamt for. It's really difficult. There have been a number of prophetic words suggesting it was going to be over soon, but this is not the reality of their circumstances. And then into this context, Jeremiah the prophet brings a very different prophecy, and he calls the people of the Lord in this way. Build homes and plan to stay. Plant gardens and eat the food they produce. Marry and have children, then find spouses for yourselves so that you may multiply. Do not dwindle away, do not hold back, and work for the peace and the prosperity of the city where I sent you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, for its welfare will determine your welfare. When I was a young girl, I used to be taken to visit an older lady with my mum, who visited this lady on a weekly basis. Her name was Treasure, and she had been blind for many years. And I remember being very drawn to this lady. I found it fascinating that she had absolutely no sight in her eyes and had to feel herself away around her home. But most of all, I was drawn to who she was as this person. I was not a Christian at the time, but I recognized she carried something very special. Most of all, she carried a peace that just was very attractive to me, even as a little girl. And I remember one day I asked Treasure how she carried this peace, and she was the person she was, so loving to others, even though to me her circumstances looked so difficult, to be in captivity, to be in darkness as she was. And I remember what she said to me. She said, gratitude, thankfulness every day keeps the heart and soul really healthy. How do we navigate this season? How do we bloom where we are planted? I guess I learned from Treasure as a little girl things that I might be able to apply right now. I'm going to leave it with you in terms of the P's, the letter P that I have circulating in my head right now. Now is a time for perspective, a time to focus our eyes on Jesus. Even this morning, look to him with a thankful heart. Remember how big your God is, how loving he is, how for you he is. Now is a time for the presence of God. Don't disengage with God. Worship him this morning. Lift your soul to him. Allow your spirit to come alive in him. Worship and the presence of God have always been key to me at times of difficulty and battle. It's what keeps me sane. It's what keeps me in a perspective of faith. It's absolutely life. Maybe you haven't experienced it like that, but you could even try today. Go tune into some worship. Go read the scripture. Lift your heart and soul in worship to him simply for who he is, and watch what it does to you. Now is a time for perspective, for presence. It's also a time for permission giving. I was speaking to somebody yesterday who told me how much their teenager was struggling in this time, and that will be the case for many people and for many young people in our midst, and that will be the case for maybe you. And it's good for us to be able to say that it is a really hard time, it is a tough time, and to acknowledge that, to be able to articulate that and not beat ourselves up about that, and have grace with others and with ourselves. Today is a day for grace. It's also, and finally, a time for you to experience God's peace. We are in this situation of this current pandemic. We are in this lockdown. And I guess Jeremiah was encouraging the people to look for opportunities to bless the circumstances around them, the people around them, bless their city, their environment, their streets, their workplaces, if it was our current day, to be a people of blessing, to be a people of prayer, to pray for those around us. We make such a difference to our environments. As a people, we have a tendency to want to go back in life, to hark back to how it used to be, or to be desperate for the future, to long for a different day. But I want to encourage you this morning that blooming where you are planting is living like that lovely Lady Treasure, with a peace, with thankfulness in our current circumstances. I bless you to engage with the one that makes this possible. I bless you this morning with the peace of Jesus Christ.